Hey Breck students, Frank here from AFP, and today we're going to be talking about playing an instrument and singing at the same time, performing. If you haven't already asked yourself this question, I'm pretty sure you've thought about it once. How to sing and play an instrument at the same time, whether that be a guitar or the drums or a keyboard. Well, I just want to talk to you a little bit about my experience. So when I was younger, I basically was lucky enough to have access to a small acoustic guitar, and my mom would have these VHS and DVD tapes lying around the house of her favorite type of musicians from the 80s and 90s. So I, would accompany my mom and watching these videos of, bands like, Prince and Michael Jackson, or, artists like Billy Idol and Blondie, and just, artists where the lead singer or the lead vocalist was strong and the music behind them was very strong as well. It was, it kind of like matched that force, and it created like an experience. So I was influenced by big name artists, and I basically car passing by. I basically kind of like hypnotized myself while I was watching, these artists with my mom. Like I would, have the guitar in my hand and kind of just like not even look at what I was doing, just kind of copy the moves or copy the, the style, the way they were singing. It became an identity for me. So, now going into high school, I got myself an actual electric guitar and, started hanging out with people that were kind of similar to me. Like they wanted to play guitar and sing or be in a band and start like a 4-piece band. And it was something that was like super special to a group of kids. So, I got a couple of friends together and, we made a high school band. And that was my first experience at being in a band, being in a band dynamic. And your first experience really teaches you a lot, because when you do your first talent show, it's kind of like you feel like you're in Madison Square Garden in your school auditorium. It feels like just your moment in front of a bunch of people. Well, for me, that was kind of a revelation. Like I realized that, in order to step up and be that lead vocalist or be the guitarist that sounds good, you gotta do certain things to prepare yourself. So what I would do was I would kind of pick a couple of songs, because I wasn't classically trained to do anything. Like I'm not classically trained to read music or understand like, how to sing and read at the same time, and like someone who would be in choir would. So I basically covered music, and I basically like learned music that I wasn't I didn't have much knowledge of, like Nirvana, and I started learning like different types of singing and what screaming is and how that sounds against guitar, and I started learning new things on the guitar. And then I started learning ways to put the two together, like a strumming pattern that makes my singing easier, because sometimes there are certain songs out there that we can play on the guitar no problem, but when it comes down to singing and playing, we get stuck. So I would try to find the medium between the two. And how I would do that is I would learn the part that was most difficult to me. So an example, if I was, working on a song like Smells Like Teen Spirit, when I was younger, I always thought that singing that song was most difficult because it involved a lot of screaming and involved a lot of, emotion, whereas the guitar was pretty straightforward. So that was one of the first songs I ever did in front of people, was Smells Like Teen Spirit. I used that as like the gateway into understanding performing. That was kind of my first real experience. and then it became like, trying to do Red Hot Chili Pepper songs where it was like a little more like dancey and upbeat, and I really wanted to get something out of the crowd. And I started finding this medium in my playing. Like, not only was I like learning how to sing from these great frontmen, I was learning how to play from great guitarists at the same time. And that was a mountain that was, I always had to climb that mountain learning every song, so if you, a very helpful way of learning how to sing and play for me is pick the part of the song that's most difficult, whether it be the vocals, and break it down to yourself. If you're trying to learn how to play the guitar and vocals and you find the vocals are harder, make sure you have the guitar part down on the song, but like really put your efforts more towards the vocals, because what happens is if you do something multiple times, if you do the same thing in repetition and study the part, you become it, you become the part. And that's something that's really helped me out in my practicing, in my rehearsing, in my guitar shedding, in my practicing on the drums, in my practicing on the piano, and everything. I try to really become the part as far as texture goes, tonality. If we're talking about singing, I like to focus on like syllables and like more for my guitar players. If I try to also sing my scales when I'm playing the guitar. Like I'm trying to do that more even now. I still haven't got that down, but like it helps when you're trying to find a voice on your guitar, and it helps when you're trying to build a voice in between your guitar and your actual voice. So that's helpful. Also, I would say open your ear to music that you're not necessarily comfortable with and see how other people are doing it. Because not everybody is singing and playing with a guitar. Some people are singing and playing with the drums, and there's things that you can learn from being, multi-talented. Or also, you could unlock things about yourself that you didn't even know. So definitely just find something that you love to do. Find something that you like whether it be guitar playing or singing, and try to master it and put the two together, because everyone has the capability to play guitar. Everyone has the capability to sing, but to be unique and be special and be only you is up to you. So that's basically my advice if you're trying to learn how to play guitar and sing at the same time, or play any instrument and sing at the same time. Just focus on the part that you're choosing out of whatever piece of music, or if you're writing something and it's not a piece of music that's already recorded, focus on what you're trying to convey to the audience or the listener, because that couple of minutes on stage, or when you're passing a track that you've recorded on, and you want to let someone hear it, the first 15 seconds of anything is impression. So you want to always leave a good impression. You want to show people that you're confident and you know what you're doing. So, and I'm not perfect. I haven't unlocked all the secrets to being the perfect front man or perfect guitar player, drummer, piano, whatever. All I know is I love what I do, and I do it for me. And I'm glad that people are inspired by me to, do what they love to do, and, they care about what I'm doing. So, that being said, if you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comments, and I'll try to respond as soon as possible. I don't always do vocal conversations or like performing conversations on Wednesday, but I felt like this was a good topic to touch up on. So thank you for listening, and have a great Wednesday. Bye.